Sandor Nagyszalanczy here for Woodworker's Journal magazine. And I remember when I started out in woodworking decades ago, pretty much the only decent screws we had were these old-fashioned zinc-plated, slot head, tapered wood screws. And they worked pretty good, of course, but the problem with them was that it just took a lot of time and trouble to drive them. First you had to drill a pilot hole. That had a countersink in the top for the screw head. Then you had to drive the screw, and with this little slot on top, more times than not, the driver would slip out like it just did here. That head is totally galled. Straight slot screws are definitely not designed to be driven with power drivers, which is why woodworkers rejoiced when drywall screws became commonly available in hardware stores somewhere around the late 70s or early 80s, which is when I put this kit together of all the different size screws. Now, a drywall screw, in contrast to a tapered wood screw, has a very deep thread that requires no pilot hole in order to drive into most materials. It also has a Phillips head drive instead of a straight slot drive. A Phillips bit centers much better on the screw itself and doesn't tend to slip off, so this made them great for driving quickly with a typical drill driver. Now, the biggest problem with the drywall screws was the fact that the brittle steel they were made out of would very often snap, especially when driven into hardwoods like maple and oak. But probably the most exciting thing that's happened with screws since their invention is that production screws developed for the building trades and wood products industries have become available to regular woodworkers through hardware stores, home centers, and online retailers. Production screws are made by many different manufacturers, but usually are sold as either construction screws or multi-purpose screws. Deck screws are basically production screws that have a weather-resistant coating applied to them. Regardless of the brand, type, or size, production screws are all made from strong, heat-treated steel and have sharp points and aggressive threads that allow them to be rapidly driven into wood without the need for pre-drilled pilot holes. Production screws are available with many different head styles, including flat, oval, pan or truss head, washer head and super washer head, and flanged or wafer head. Unlike old-fashioned flathead wood screws, the underside of a flathead production screw has nibs that cut into the wood surface, thus eliminating the need for using a separate countersinking drill bit when driving them flush. Washer and super washer head screws are great for attaching thin solid wood or plywood parts to thicker workpieces, as well as for securely screwing softwood parts together. In each case, the screw's large head is less likely to pull into or through the wood surface. In addition to Phillips, there are 3 production screw drive types that work well with power drivers: Square or Robertson, Posi Square, a combination of Phillips and Square drives, and Torx, also known as Star Drive. And brand new on the scene, Outlaw deck screws feature a modified hexagonal drive. What makes all 4 of these drive types great for use with a power drill or impact driver is that they'll stick securely on the end of the bit, allowing you to drive the screw in one-handed. These drive bits are also less likely to cam out or slip out of the drive recess and cause damage to the screw head. Different brands of production screws have various point styles as well as innovative thread designs that allow them to penetrate surfaces quickly and drive in without splitting the wood. Many of these screws are designed to work with a wide variety of materials, including hard and soft woods, MDF and hardboard, and particle board and plywood. To keep them from rusting, steel screws designed for indoor use are plated with either bright or yellow zinc, or they receive a black oxide coating. To prevent corrosion, screws made for outdoor use may be epoxy coated. Some deck screws even come in colors made to match common decking materials, such as this redwood. For even greater resistance to corrosion and lumber staining from rust, choose either bronze ceramic screws, which have a combination plating and coating, or stainless steel screws. Both kinds are great for use in all sorts of outdoor projects.